Hey y'all, I'm back with part two of this Neptune uh whew, deception and lies and whatever you want to call it. Let me show you Wade Robson and James Safechuck planetary positions. You see it? The squares. And James Safechuck also has the moon in Scorpio. With all that sexual debauchery, he has the moon in Scorpio. So this is how he could sit there and say that I don't have any unpleasant memories other than not being able to pee. He says, I felt like we were bonding in a way. The tour was the start of this sexual-like couple relationship. And Wade says, I didn't believe or understand that the sexual stuff that happened between Michael and I was abuse. See, they didn't even feel like they were being abused because of this square between the sun and Neptune had them confused. They were deceiving themselves. I didn't feel like I was hurt by it, that it was anything bad that happened to me. At that point, it was Michael loves me. This was something that happened between us. That's it. I had absolutely no understanding that I was affected or any feeling that I was affected negatively. This is something else. Oprah says, if you were abused, why would you continue to be around the person? MJ's estate says that you try to get a job working with his organization or going on tour, etc. Wade said, I had no understanding of it being abuse. I love Michael. Every time I gushed over him or praised him was from a real place, while never forgetting any of the sexual details between us. Having no understanding that it was abuse or anything that Michael did was, quote, bad. I couldn't even go there. I couldn't even question Michael. If I were to question Michael and my story with Michael, my life with Michael, it'd mean I would have to question everything in my life. Yep, your sexuality. Why'd you let it go that far? Were you gay? So it wasn't even an option to even think about it. Michael was good. That was all that existed in my mind. Sun square Neptune. This is the aspect of self-deception par excellence, says Francis Sakoian. Very often peculiar emotional desires and romantic tendencies are indicated, which can range from platonic love to the most morbid and debased physical type of sensuality. Secret love affairs and scandal leave confusion in their wake. Look at Michael's chart. All of their Neptunes, James, Wade, Jordie, and Macauly Culkin, falls in Michael's 10th house of career, status, and reputation. Look at this. You see it? Neptune in the 10th house. Well, A's Neptune and B's 10th house. All A represents all these guys, James, Wade, Jordie, and Macauly. Now Brett has it there too, but it's not making any aspects, any negative aspects to his moon. Okay, so A's Neptune and B's 10th house. Here we go. And this is from the Astrology of Human Relationships by the same author, Francis Sakoian. Quote, A's Neptune and B's 10th house. These natives have a peculiar and sometimes confusing relationship in business, professional, or political affairs. And ain't that what everybody says? Why is he always seen with these young boys? It looks strange, it looks peculiar. If Neptune is well aspected, the natives could cooperate effectively in professional affairs related to photography, cinema, theater, art, music, entertainment, religion. And they do have some favorable aspects from his 10th house to their 6th, but we're going to deal with the negative aspect now. Because Neptune is a personal planet. It's the ruler of Michael's chart. He's a double Pisces, moon and sun. So that's a very important planet for him. And it's also an important planet for James and Wade. Also Jordie too, because he has Mars squared Neptune. This is just a Neptune mess. But anyway, if Neptune is afflicted in the comparison, which it is making a square to his moon, there could be confusion, fraud, or deception in business or professional affairs, or eventual scandal in the affairs relating to the careers or public status of the natives. Unsavory events from the past of one or both could come before the public, causing embarrassment and disgrace. And this is exactly what has happened. Psychological neuroses or family problems of one or both natives could interfere with professional responsibilities. On the positive side, the Neptune individual can help advance the career of the 10th house individual through his or her intuitive abilities and creative imagination, especially in fields related to art, entertainment, and advertising. Did y'all hear that about the unsavory events? Unsavory events from the past of one or both natives could come before the public, causing embarrassment and disgrace. Come on now. Ooh. I'm going to come back with part 3. Let me say this about Wade being very graphic in Leaving Neverland about the things that happened sexually between he and Michael that you said was abuse, but you kept going back. Because this is my thing. If you are carrying on a sexual relationship with somebody for 7 years, that's not abuse. You don't live with that person. You just come to them each time they call you for these sexual escapades. You didn't live with Michael. You lived on your own, or either with your parents or your mom or wherever. You didn't live with him. So each time he called you, you would go over there, whether it was to the hideout or to Neverland or wherever. You would go to him. So this was just a full-fledged, in my opinion, homosexual relationship. That's all it was with you and James. But you're making it out to be abuse. You know, it was a full-fledged homosexual relationship. And like Francis Sakoian was saying in her book, The Astrologer's Handbook, you know, she says very often peculiar desires and romantic tendencies are indicated by the Sun square Neptune, which can range from platonic love to the most morbid and debased physical type of sensuality. Secret love affairs and scandal leave confusion in their wake. And I just talked about the scandal with y'all's Neptune in his 10th house, squaring his moon. So yeah, you know, all that stuff that you said he was doing to you, licking the anus and all that stuff, you was doing that to him too. Because you said whatever Michael wanted you to do, or whatever Michael chose to do with you or to you, you was down with it. You know, and you know, Francis Sakoian talks about the sexual debauchery of the sun square moon. I'm sorry, the sun square Neptune and Venus square Neptune, the way Wade has it. You know what? Let me read. Y'all got Neptune square to his moon. Y'all Neptune in his 10th house is making a 90-degree angle to his moon in the first house. So I'm going to read that. You're going to get a clear understanding of this stuff. A's moon square B's Neptune, or whatever, vice versa. A's Neptune square B's moon. The very first sentence, man, quote, mutual deception and dishonesty. So that means there was deception between both of y'all, both parties, between James, Wade, Jordan, Macauly. Quote, mutual deception and dishonesty often based on subconscious psychological hangups, she says, are frequently characteristics of relationships with this comparative combination. I'm reading from the Astrology of Human Relationships here about the synastry. So that's self-explanatory. Y'all were deceptive because y'all had subconscious psychological hangups about what y'all were doing, being gay. So y'all deceived yourselves and the world. Okay, she says mutual deception and dishonesty, often based on subconscious psychological hangups, are frequently characteristic of this relationship. Of relationships with this comparative combination. One or both of the natives can have a parasitical psychological effect on the other. And I could see that too. I could see the parasitical effect from both sides, from you guys, from Wade to Michael, and from Michael to these guys. The natives can encourage each other's tendencies to get hung up in negative emotional memories to the point of being incapable of acting appropriately in their present circumstances. They can become so involved in their own private dream worlds that they are no longer able to communicate or take care of practical family, domestic, business, or other mutual responsibilities. Michael, stand in that room all day with Jordie Chandler, hold up in that room all day, in a hotel, at his house. Quote, they can encourage each other's neuroses, psychological weakness, and subconscious self-destructive tendencies, such as alcoholism, drug taking, or other destructive escapist tendencies. This is not a good combination for business partnerships. The natives will tend to be unreliable toward each other and make foolish, unwise expenditures. The Neptune individual is likely to be emotionally deceptive toward the moon individual, and the moon person often finds the other hard to understand. See, mutual deception. Due to a psychological hang-up, not wanting to see or believe that you guys were gay. You know, this is a trip. I'm going to come back with a part 3 because I got to talk about these transits that was going on when these guys were molested or supposedly molested. I believe they were because all the signs point to it. You know, in astrology, I'm going to talk about the transits between 1990 and 1993 when these alleged molestations supposedly took place. I'll be right back.